Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Soul Seekers podcast, where we believe that hunting has the power to transform lives through primal adventure, as we share our mission of mentorship is conservation. To learn more about everything we do, check out our show on Carbon TV or go to soulseekersnation.com. Freedom on, everybody, and stay soulful. Do you want to become a better shooter, reduce flinch, protect your ears, and just overall enjoy shooting your gun that much more? Then there's no better way to do that than by adding a suppressor to the end of your barrel. Be sure to check out Huxwrx Safety Co, as they are a leader in the suppressor world with their OSS Flow-Through Technology, virtually eliminating blowback and toxic gas that can affect weapon system performance and shooter health. To find out more about Huxwrx, go to huxwrx.com. That's huxwrx.com, and go get yourself a suppressor for your upcoming hunts. This podcast is also proudly brought to you by OnX Hunt. When I first got into hunting, I kept hearing all about public land and different access and how to find different locations to hunt. I was like, well, how are people even identifying all this stuff? Well, sure enough, I came across the number one hunting GPS app, and that is OnX Hunt. If you guys want to get better at hunting and go deeper into your scouting, OnX Hunt is the number one GPS app for that. Join the millions of hunters who trust OnX Hunt to find more game, discover new access, and hunt smarter. It was a game changer for me, and I know it's going to be a game changer for you if you've never used it. If you have used it, you know the power that it holds. Guys, I really hope you enjoy this episode. If you want to know more about OnX, go to onxmaps.com/hunt. and check out their app. Be blessed, freedom on, and stay soulful. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Soul Seekers podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Mack, and today I'm joined by one of my hunting partners, Iron Will Weber. We only wish that we could have Two Shot Tony join us for this episode, but he is busy slaving away for the man and getting ready to become a journeyman in the electrical field, which we're super excited about. And so 2023 has a lot of big things happening here for the Soul Seekers team. But this episode is dedicated to hitting the reset button. With the new year comes new goals, comes new identity, new foundation, or maybe you're building upon a foundation that you started from previous years. But I know specifically and personally for myself that 2022 was a difficult year. It was a year of change. It was a year of trying to find where and how that foundation was going to be, and everything that I built from previous years, whether it be personally, professionally, or relationship-wise, was a struggle and a challenge, and it's time to identify, take a look at what we got going on, and we're going to be talking about hitting that reset button. So, William, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. How are you?
Doing well. I'm doing better.
How's the weather there in Texas?
Dude, blue sky, sunny, gorgeous. I was wearing shorts yesterday, just, sun in my calves. It was gorgeous. Dude, talk to me a little bit about just how you doing. Everyone goes through the holidays, and there's that holiday. It's almost like the freshman 15, right? Like, your freshman year of college, you're just automatically going to be, not automatically, but majority of people put on that 15 pounds their freshman year of college because all of a sudden they kind of let loose, and there's no, parents to be like, hey, watch that, and you're on your own. When it comes to the holidays, a lot of people are like, okay, well, I'm just going to be around all of this. I'm going to give in. And I know for myself over the last year, it's not just the holidays, but it's like, all right, when you don't have a steady routine or something to fall back upon, it's very easy to slide. And that can be with your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, your emotional health, social well-being, everything. So how are you been feeling in regards to life lately?
Oh man, 2022 was an extremely successful year for me in business and my relationships in the hunting world. And obviously I notched several tags last year, which was a huge success. So, I mean, there was a lot to look back on and be super grateful and thankful for, but I was definitely lacked the discipline in 2022 as it pertains to my fitness and my diet strength and whatnot. When you first met me, I was in pretty good shape. But when you saw some of the old photos of me, I mean, I think it was like 2017 or something. I was heavy, man. I was like pushing 240 and couple back surgeries and couple hip surgeries, and I had just kind of let life get away with marriage and everything else. So I really got disciplined and turned all that stuff around. I got down to comfortable weight of like 180 and was feeling super good. And I let that get away from me a little bit last year. So I would say that, as you know, 2023, the last couple years since I met you guys and became a part of the team, I've kind of set themes for the year, and 2023 is going to be renewing the discipline and the and just hitting that reset button like you talk about. So, we're coming up to about 30 days from Expo. Super excited for the three of us to get together this year. Two Shot's going to be joining us for the Western Hunt Expo this year. So yesterday was day one for me, back into the fitness and diet discipline. And man, let me tell you what, I am already just in 24 hours feeling the difference and motivation and the strength and whatnot to just say, dude, it's time to take control of my life back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's so easy to rest on the laurels of yesterday, like, oh man, I was training for a 100-mile ultra marathon. I can do
Sure.
this, I can do that. I killed, all these animals in 2020, and all of a sudden it's like, well, that was a long time ago.
Hmm.
That's not now. That's, we were doing the Soulful series and going through personal development and all that stuff. And it's like you look at where we are now or where I am now, and it's like, all right, I want to get back to that. It's time to return back to the roots. And sometimes it's very easy to get lost in the weeds of life. And so in the podcast we've talked about inward reflection leads to outward correction. So if we actually have the time to stop and internally reflect, then that will lead us to the outward correction that we desire. If ultimately that's what we want. If we don't want it bad enough, we're gonna continue to brush it aside and push it aside because in the end, it's like, well, it doesn't really matter that much.
Right. Exactly.
Are you a big goal setter?
I am a big goal setter. Me and my wife talk constantly. I mean, the last couple years, we've really achieved a lot in our personal lives as well as my business life. Plans we have for the future, um, things we're doing on the homestead, and things we want for ourselves and our kids. And I think, you know, being in business and running a business and owning some stuff, you get really good about not being about the day to day and being more about, you know, month to month, 6 months, year, 5 years. So I'm always projecting out into the future and things I want to complete. And it's really only been the last 3 or 4 years, I would say, that I do start to think at the end of December about goals for the following year, and into even the year after that. And that's when I really hit it hard. Is like that first 10 days of January. I really hit hard, like things I want to do, reaching out to contacts, talking about goals for the year, trying to get a pulse on the industry and other stuff. And um, this year, me and my wife definitely have some goals we want to hit in our personal life for family. Um, but man, I am super motivated and super dedicated right now to just getting back to the best version of myself. And I think the best version of myself obviously serves me and my family very well, but it serves our Soul Seekers team very well and the people around me. And I'm just going to continue to stay disciplined in that, nurture these relationships. And man, I think the possibilities in 2023 are endless, man.
Yeah. It's, you know, I remember thinking back to when I was a high school football player, and I knew I wanted to play college football, What's up, Soul Seekers Nation? Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I really appreciate it. As a reward, I have some discount codes for you to use if you are in the market for a brand new hunting pack. Go check out initialascent.com and Initial Ascent packs. They are made in America. Their one-piece carbon frame is an absolute game changer. We run their packs. We love them. And you can save 5% at checkout by using the code SOULSEEKERS. That's all one word. Also, for those of you who are archery hunters and you are tired of shooting at dots on a target, check out deadnutsoutdoors.com for their lifelike 2D archery targets. You can save 20% on all of their products by using the code SOULSEEKERS at checkout. Once again, the code is SOULSEEKERS, all one word. Go check out initialascent.com and Dead Nuts Outdoors. Enjoy the podcast. But at the end, I only lifted weights because I played sports. I only worked out because I played sports, because that's what you're supposed to do, right? You gotta prepare for the season. And I remember asking a buddy who I knew wasn't going to college and I knew wasn't continuing on with sports. And I said to him, and this may be extremely naive, but I think this could be a mentality a lot of people view things. I asked him, I go, hey, do you plan on continuing to work out anymore? Or are you just gonna stop now that football's over? And I don't remember what his response was, but that was a very critical moment for me in my own life of being like, oh man, okay. Well, talk about how I view exercise, how I view physical activity. And so that was a hallmark moment in my life to now think about it and apply it to today. What are we training for? Are you training? What are your goals? What do you want to achieve? And I had a conversation with a friend of mine today about goal setting. And they're like, yeah, I'm going to start doing like a 1-year goal and a 5-year goal and different stuff. And if I could get a visual and apply it to this conversation so that all our listeners can get a takeaway from this is, when we're in the moment, we talk about hunting, like, oh, forget about all the distractions and be in the moment. That is awesome for hunting. But when it comes to goals and achieving things that you want in life, that is not good, because when we are only worried about the moment, if you think of it like a protractor and angles, if you're only off 1 degree, that doesn't seem like a lot, especially for that day, especially maybe for that week. But all of a sudden that day and that angle that you're off from the goal that you're trying to achieve, or not trying, let me correct myself, wanting to achieve. See, that's the difference. People will try to achieve it, but there is no try. There's only do or do not. It's whether you want it or you don't, because if you don't want it bad enough, then you're always going to say, oh, I'm going to try it out. So,
exactly.
So you're off that 1 degree, and maybe on Monday it doesn't matter, and on Tuesday it doesn't matter, and then all of a sudden you got to Saturday and you're like, well, I've been off this long, I might as well just stay off. And when you project out that 1 degree over a length of time, the further you go, the further away from your goal you become.
Totally.
And that is something that I believe a majority of people don't understand. And so when, for me, a lot of people come about with New Year's resolutions. I don't really believe in New Year's resolutions. I just believe in becoming a better version of myself. However, I do know that I let my diet slip and my exercise slip over the holidays, and I know that I want to be the best version of myself, and I haven't been. So it's time to put my foot down.
Totally.
You ever what have you written down your goals for 2023 yet?
I haven't done a full list of my goals, but I've been discussing stuff. It's funny listening to you talk about that, and letting stuff go and talking about like the degree of separation and stuff like that. I mean, being in like the construction field and owning a business where we manufacture product that we're constantly using dimensions and angles and whatnot, and converting, flat pattern to finished 3D parts. A 16th of an inch out over half an inch or something's not a big deal. But by the time you project that out over 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, now you're getting inches out. It makes a big difference. So, when you talk about just, oh, I'll get going next Monday, or I'll get going this date. Those things, the lack of doing compounds over time, and it's that much harder to get back. And being disciplined, like you talk about New Year's resolutions, I'm not huge into setting those. What I'm trying to do is create better habits, and that's what allowed me to lose all the weight and get in better physical shape before I came a hunter a couple of years ago, was just extreme discipline. And I think going through those times allowed me to find the balance between all the stuff that I got going on and not getting burned out. And I think that's where some people get hung up, is they get burned out. A saying that I've been hearing a lot go around recently on different podcasts and stuff is comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh yeah, man.
And
Teddy Roosevelt, baby.
and I totally believe in that. When you're not, you can totally compare yourself to other people and whatnot, but it's that comparison, the outcome of that comparison. What are you using it for? Are you using it as a negative to, oh, I'll never get there, I'll never see anything like that, I can't do that because I don't have the time, oh, I don't have the contacts, I don't have the resources? Or do you use it more as a challenge or a motivation to be like, that is achievable, I just have to put in the hard work to get there? And I also feel like, our our getting away from our fitness and our mental strength and our discipline and whatnot, it definitely leads to a lack of success in certain areas where maybe we feel like we're not growing as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
I have found that when I'm taking care of my body, I'm taking care of my mental, and I'm focusing on those relationships and the people around me and the tasks that I need to, man, the successes just fall in place, and life just becomes so abundant. So I'm just super excited to see what we can achieve in 2023 here. And it definitely helps having a team that is on the same train as you. The people who are around you are all working towards the same goal. I have an extremely supportive wife. You resetting yourself and getting going is just like extra discipline for me. I just feel like our circle and our tribe of people around us are working in unison to complete some goals, and it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, well, birds of a feather flock together, right? You got to be equally
That's right.
yoked, and that's not just talking about your spouse or the relationship partner that you're with. It's with who you surround yourself with. If we are the sum of the people that we surround ourselves with, it's like I don't want to surround myself with a bunch of bums.
Absolutely.
I want to surround myself with a bunch of leaders, a bunch of warriors,
Yes.
a bunch of people that will go to battle with me and I can count on, and they can count on me, because that is the tribe that I want to circle myself with.
Yes.
You talk about comparison being the thief of joy, and it is 100% true. And one of the things you and I, we like to text back and forth on our group thread. And last night, I said to you, I have my words for this year, and I shared them with you. What do you remember? What I shared with you last night?
I'd have to look at it, but
Okay,
it
that's
was powerful though, and I'm with you on it, man.
okay. So I wanted to see how well it would stick in your mind on that. So my words for 2023 is play bigger.
Yes.
Play bigger. And so if we always look at life like a game, right? Because it's a game of life. I don't know if did
Hmm.
you ever play the board game of Life?
I used to play it on the CD-ROM version when I was a kid on the computer.
Dude,
I love that game.
it's a great game. Great game.
Yeah.
And it's also true in reality. Life is a great game. It's all about how you
Hmm.
perceive it, how you view it, and how you want to show up in it. Well, one of the biggest things that has been a detractor for me over 2022 was I slipped out of the mindset of that I can accomplish anything. I know I speak it, I know I say it, but real, like true looking in the mirror, I was starting to become very doubting of this life and this world and what's happening, and in just politics, religion,
Mm-hmm.
conspiracies, day-to-day life. I mean, you name it.
Yes.
It was really, really wearing me down. And I will say that when you mention comparison is the thief of joy, it brings me back to my words, play bigger. Because at the end of the day, life is just a game.
Yep.
And how do I want to show up in it? Do I want to play small? Do I want to play like a person that doesn't have authority, doesn't have power, doesn't have what it takes to achieve and win and knock out my goals? Or do I want to play small and cowardice and without integrity and without accountability and it's not even, you don't even need accountability partners. Like, how many people are out of accountability with themselves?
Oh, totally.
Are you looking at pornography? Are you eating foods that you know you shouldn't? Are you not being accountable to your own self? And accountability goes to your goals. What are your goals? What do you want? Because when you have that accountability to yourself, you're unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah, you were a big time. You are a big time manifester.
And
That's always been inside of you in your nature. And even I last year saw that with all the stuff going on, that you had gotten away from that some.
Yep.
The thing is you were acutely aware of it. It's just creating those habits to get back to doing that and finding those successes in that. You know, I've grown so much as a human being, just inside, outside, everything. Since I met you and Tony and a bunch of the other great relationships that I've been able to form since being a part of Soul Seekers, and definitely got to surround yourself with, you know, reflections of how you want to show up. When you're around negativity and bad habits and stuff, it just usually doesn't end up well. But you have to take the reins yourself. You have to take control of your life. No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to put in the work that you're going to put in to make those differences. And you got to be the difference and be the change.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You got to be the change you want to see in the world. That it's so like, man. And by the way, all you listeners that are listening to this episode, I'm not talking from some high horse. I want to talk from a level of humility. Like, I've been struggling, and it's time to take the reins. It's time to take ownership, extreme ownership over my actions, over my words, over my energy I put out into this world, and stop letting life influence me so that I feel like I'm a result of something. We're not results. That is what is called a victim mentality, that we don't have any control, and it's time to return back. And so my challenge to all you listeners out there, my challenge to you, Will, to me, is to stop playing a victim, take extreme ownership, and by taking extreme ownership, identifying what it is that you want. And you can talk about identifying what you want in hunting. You can talk about what you want in regards to a relationship. Like, how many single people are listening to this podcast? They're like, man, I'd love to have a girlfriend. I'd love to have a wife. I'd love to have a spouse.
Yeah.
Well, then if you want it, go get it.
Yes.
Don't wait. And if you are constantly going to a bar looking for your wife and you're not finding it, I'm not saying you won't, but I'm saying the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So
you're in your own way.
Yes. So get out of your comfort zone and put your actions in alignment with your words and your desires and your wants.
Yes.
You know, that's, you know, a lot of people be like, well, that's easy for you to say. It's like, dude, I met my wife on plentyoffish.com.
Yeah.
Like full on. I was like, this seems
You got a wild story.
Yes. I was like, this seems really awkward and uncomfortable. And yet I'm not meeting my wife the way I just haven't met her yet, so I got to do something out of the norm. And
Yes, get out of the way.
and all of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom, I bought a ring 2 weeks later, and we were married. We were married within 5 months. So, you know, when it comes to goals, and I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot because I'm also writing stuff down right now. In the
Hmm.
moment, we're going to be present in the moment. We're going to think. I'm going to say we're going to cover goals in regards to hunting,
Hmm.
life, and then we're going to say relationship.
Mm.
Okay? So these are the 3 areas that I want to talk about setting goals on. Okay?
Okay.
And this is for 2022. Excuse me. 2023. Look at that. Freudian slip. I want you to think about it. Hunting, life, and relationships. And it doesn't have to be one goal. You could have a variety of
Oh,
goals.
sure.
But like,
Yeah.
think about what, for 2023, we're going to do a 1-year goal. By the time we hit next year, January 5th, and you could say December 31st, whatever, but
Hmm.
what are the goals that you want to have accomplished? And not just now want to accomplish, you're going to accomplish.
Right.
Because we're going to speak in the affirmative. I
Hmm.
I am, just like the affirmations of I am a powerful, inspiring, loving leader. I am courageous. I am loving. I am a leader. I am whatever. I am going to accomplish this. And that is one of the biggest things is how we speak leads to how we act and how we carry ourselves and how we show up in the world. It's
Mm.
time to flush the old. Hit the reset button, ground yourself right now and say, I am no longer going to live this old way, speak this old way. I'm going to start new. I am January 5th, 2023, taking a stand and making a difference for my life and my family and everyone I come in contact with right now. So,
Mm.
putting you on the spot. What do you want to go hunting, life, or relationships first, or do you want me to go
Let's
first?
no, let's do hunting first.
Okay,
This year for 2023, my goal is to be the most physically fit on the mountain that I have been since I started hunting 3 years ago.
okay. How do you measure that?
Well, I know that I have not done any sort of regimented training or discipline leading into the hunting season every year. When I go and throw that first 40 or 50 pound pack on, it's the first time I've done it all year. And I die on that first hike. Two Shot and I have some big plans here in Washington this year for some big hunts with some miles and some elevation covered and whatnot. Um, my goal is to, I know how I have felt the last several years, and I know that this year heading into our hunting season, the only person who can truly measure it is myself. But the way that I know I'm going to reach that goal is I'm going to stay fitness wise and diet wise. I am going to stay strict and dedicated and routined into it all year, 12 months. I will obviously have some moments when I'm with the boys, I might have a beer or something, but I am going to create good habits, and I'm going to stay disciplined all year. And
Nice.
that is a get it done every day. I have my wife is who is super supportive. My kids super supportive. Even my oldest Liam, he hops into the shop with me at the end of the day and wants to lift weights and run on the treadmill and stuff. So I got my little buddy, but I am going to be in the best physical shape this hunting year I have been since I started.
Okay. I love it. I love it. You know, one of the things that I didn't say is I think the life category could also be the professional category. I think those are
Sure.
those are combination depending on where you're at. So if you're taking notes on this podcast, you could write
Mm-hmm.
life or professional. I like that. I like that. My goal that I am going to accomplish for 2023, I have an and or in it because hunts vary depending on scenarios and
Sure.
how life plays out. But my goal is to kill a bear and or elk. So,
Awesome.
and I do say kill, not shoot, because I ain't into shooting and not recovering, or shooting and wounding, or like shooting and missing. I am killing
Mm-hmm.
a bear and or an elk, and that is for 2023. It's time to notch the tags again and get back on the board. And I know exactly
Yes.
what I need to do in order to achieve that. So for me, I need to get to the range and shoot my rifle when it comes to for leading up to bear season, and I need to shoot my
Yes.
bow. I need to be a master of my craft in preparation for my
Mm-hmm.
hunts.
Yes.
So that is that's my hunting goal for 2023. The other thing is the other one kind of falls into the professional category, since it
Mm-hmm.
deals with soul seekers. Is the Soul Seekers store, online store, is going to get up and running in 2023.
Heck yeah.
Yep. So all you listeners who've ever been like, dude, I'd love some stickers, hats, shirts, swag, whatever, we're gonna get the store up and running. That is a huge goal of mine that I am going to accomplish.
Perfect.
Yep. All right. So what do you got for life or professional goal?
Well, let's go with life. Um, Me and my wife have been creating a homestead here in Marysville, where we are becoming as self-reliant and self-sustainable as possible, which even resulted in us. We raised some beef cows this year, and I actually just got done. I got done processing them. We did the process from start to finish. I hung them in my own walk-in cooler. I processed them, cut all the beef, processed it, packaged it, all that stuff. Um, so this year we are also in 2022 purchased some land in North Idaho that we have begun the process of building a homestead on. And in my life goal, my plan for 2023, with along with my wife, a shared goal, is we actually got the well put in November last year. The plan this year is to get power pulled to the property and septic and foundation put in. And we are paying cash for everything. We are not going into debt over anything. So from a professional standpoint, I'm going to continue to make smart choices in my business I got here in Washington, so that it can continue to provide me the fruits that I need to get that done over in Idaho. So our goal is to finish establishing our footprint on our Idaho homestead.
Nice. Specifically, and I think one of the things that I want to share, I love that, is when it comes to goal setting. This is the teacher in me uh, talking here. When it comes to goal setting, there's a thing called SMART goal, and a way that
Mm-hmm.
whether or not you have a good and proper goal is
Yes.
the categories of these 5 markings. So SMART is an acronym. Is it a SMART goal? The S stands for specific. So when you come with a goal, you need to be specific. So when you say you continue to enlarge your footprint on your homestead in North Idaho,
Mm-hmm.
so what
Mm-hmm.
specific is the next part of that?
So the 3 things we're going to establish, which I did mention, that is septic, power, and foundation.
Love that. Measurable. How do you measure that? Whether or not you get it in or you don't get it in?
That's it.
Is it
And we're
attainable?
taking steps now currently to do that by getting quotes from people who we know to get those things done, and filing for permits and doing the necessary paperwork. So there's steps to getting it done. First step is filing the paperwork, just like with the well, which we have filed the paperwork. Now we're waiting on quotes. Once we get the quotes, we have a dollar amount that's a goal for us to get to save up to. And then as we reach those dollar amounts, we'll be able to pull the trigger on each one of those items.
I love it. So it's specific, it's measurable. A stands for attainable. Is it attainable? I'd say yes, it
Yes.
is. R stands for realistic, right? Is it realistic? And that's up for you to be able to decide, right? If I said
Mm-hmm.
I want to lose 100 pounds, well, that's not realistic because then all of a sudden I'd be weighing 110 pounds, and that would be
Right.
putting me in the hospital. So that's not a realistic
Right.
goal for
Right.
myself. And then the other thing is T stands for either timely or time bound. So yeah, goals are great, but you also need to say when you want to accomplish them by, right? So
Yep.
because otherwise, is it a 1 month goal? Is it a 1 year goal? Is it a 5 year goal? Is it a
Right.
within your lifetime goal? And so the time bound part is huge in regards to setting those goals. I love that. So when it comes to my life slash professional, um, I'm ready to get. So those of you who've been listening to this podcast for a long time, you knew that I was a school teacher. Well, this last year, I transitioned out of education and into mortgage brokering. So I'm a loan officer to help people refinance and purchase homes. Well, in this market, it has been extremely tough, especially when it comes to networking, because I moved
Mm.
2,000 miles to a new location. Even though
Right.
I'm licensed in the state of Washington and Texas and Florida, it's like, a lot of it is who you know, not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
what you know. That's kind of a uh, something for life, right? It's always more
Mm-hmm.
about who you know rather than what you know. So I want to get the mortgage game going to a point where all I need to do is mortgages and Soul Seekers. Run the Soul Seekers podcast, do the Soul Seekers show, public speak, and do all that. Eventually, to the point where the mortgage game becomes the side hustle and Soul Seekers becomes the primary.
Yeah.
Is that a 1 year goal? I don't I don't know at this point. I don't think it is a 1 year goal. A lot of this also determines, it has outside factors. And correct me if I'm double speaking on this, but um, a lot of people would choose to buy or not buy or refinance. So the refinance game's kind of out of the picture until rates drop.
Sure.
But the purchase game is still on the table, and so that's one of the things. Just like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that by the end of the year, but I think that's a good.
Right.
I think that's a good 2 year goal.
No, and that's a fair assessment, because even like going back to my lifestyle or whatnot of getting, to get more specific on my goal would be when you set a timeline. Obviously, I would love to have all of that in by end of year, but when you're paying cash for something and you're also, I am limiting myself to the schedule of the companies in which I vet and choose to do that work. Um, and they might not be able to perform it based on when I have the money available to do it until maybe next spring or whatnot. So to get more specific with mine, is it a 1 year goal, a 2 year goal? Um, Not 100% sure, because their timeline dictates it. But what I do know is I want to have either the work paid and completed this calendar year, or deposits on those three items
I
completed this year, so that I'm on the schedule book.
love that. I love that. Uh, that's beautiful. See, you got even more specific on your goal, and when you get more
Mm-hmm.
specific, you become more clear. And clarity is a very valuable thing. This is why we always
Yes.
talk about in hunting, buy the best optics you can, because the better
Oh
clarity,
yeah.
the more vision you're going to have. And vision, without vision, it says in the Bible, without vision, the people perish. So
Mm.
that's why this episode that we're talking about is so important, about hitting the reset button. Let's take a look in the mirror and identify
Yep.
our life. Relationships. You got a relationship goal? I know 3 years ago you did.
3 years ago, I did have a relationship goal. Um, I had a relationship goal with you guys. Um, I will say what I want to do. I started this one um, last hunting season. So last August is when I really started this with your move to Texas. Something that a relationship goal for me this year is I want to. I had a lot of growth in it last year, but I want to put a lot of emphasis this year into continuing to build my relationship with Two Shot.
Mm.
because Tony and I started to connect and build a really good relationship, and our family started to get really close during the hunting season last year. Personally, because you and me are like attached at the hip, I feel like we can talk all the time, all hours of the day about all things business, personal, whatever. We've had some emotional breakdowns with each other's and different things. So like I feel like you and I are we're there, and we just continue to build and strengthen our relationship. Me and Tony grew a lot in our relationship. Um, but with us basically being hunting partners now here in the state of Washington for all of our hunts here, and you not always being present, me and him had a chance to connect and get a lot closer, talk about life and our business ventures and faith and all that stuff. So I want to continue to grow that this year with Tony, because Tony's Tony's such a stud and such a fantastic human being. Um, and I want to I feel connected to him like I do with you, but I want to make sure that my relationship with him is I can be a guy that he can call in a time of need, or when he just wants to talk, and vice versa. So I'm gonna put a lot of emphasis this year into my relationship with Two Shot, and a lot of that is built day to day, and a lot of it is built when we're in the mountains.
Yep. Yep. I love that. I love that. Um, you know, intentionality goes a long way, and it's very easy to get distracted in the buzz of life of us being intentional in what we want. And when we're intentional, it
Mhm.
helps us, that supports us and helps us on our journey to achieving our goals. So
Mhm.
hopefully you listen to this podcast.
Yeah. Exactly.
My relationship goals is I want to be intentional in spending time at, so let me say this. My goal for 2022 is to be intentional and present mentally with my children.
Yes.
So there's so many times that as a father, I'll be with my kids, but I'm not mentally with my kids. I'm
Mm.
thinking about other things or thinking about a to-do list or thinking, I want to be present in the moment with my kids. Get down on the floor with them, play toys with them, read them books. I want to teach them. I want to mold them. I want to instill in them what it means to be a leader. And
Yes.
I feel like I've been dropping the ball on that.
Mm.
I have wonderful children. They're very good boys. And at the end of the day, my lack of attention and my lack of being present is only going to do them a disservice. So if I want to raise little warriors, then I need to be the warrior and be the chief and lead. So
Awesome goal.
yeah,
Awesome goal.
yeah. So that's my goal for for 2023, and that's a lifelong goal as well because I don't want to let that one slide.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so when we're talking about these goals, one of the other things that I did not say in regards to my life is I want to drop weight. So I
Yeah.
specifically want to get to 205 pounds. That is
Woo.
the weight in which I feel like I am an assassin at. When
You were there.
I was there, and
Yeah.
I've slowly under my duress of 2022 and beyond, and we'll say the hangover of COVID, right?
Yeah.
The
That's
hang
fair. That's
the
fair. Yeah.
Yeah, the emotional hangover of COVID has led me uh, to not hold my body accountable, and I'm pushing 220 now, and it's like, dude, that's not number one. I'm not going to be my optimal self in the mountains on hunts, but at the same time, it just makes everything harder, right? You look at all
Yes.
these people who are dropping dead suddenly, and you get different stories regarding what the cause of it is. But when I look at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, I'm 15 pounds heavier than I want to be. That can't be
Yeah.
good for my heart. That can't be
No.
good for my joints. That's not going to allow me to continue to then be present with my children and roll around on the ground with them and lead by
Mm-hmm.
example because I'm like, ooh, my back hurts, or oh, my hips hurt, or, you know.
Yeah.
So they're all interconnected, and it's time to actually take a stand, put my foot down, and be like, no, this is what I want. So, nutritionally, for all you wondering, okay, well, what are you going to do to get down to 215 pounds? Diet is like 99% of the biggest issue for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I could run for days and run for miles, and my weight wouldn't drop because I get so hungry that I'm just eating whatever I see in sight because I'm like, oh, I need the calories, like bam, 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 slamming it. Well, I know the number one thing that is the one of the biggest downfalls when it comes to nutrition in this world is sugar.
Yep.
And more often than not, sugar is always found in carbohydrates.
Mm-hmm.
And when not excuse me, that was I misspoke. Sugar is a carbohydrate. But when I talk about food, a lot of people always consider carbs as in like anything that's processed food. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so breads, pastas, just anything processed. So my nutrition plan from here on out is going to be cutting out sugars and processed foods. So
Yeah, boy.
if I can't grab it out of a garden, or off a tree and eat it, or if it's not protein, I don't want it. And so today, said to myself, it's time to overcome the cravings, and the cravings are
Mm-hmm.
the absolute worst part. And
100%.
and for me, I have to have that verbal dialogue, not just in my head, but like, no, overcome the cravings. Overcome the
Mm-hmm.
cravings. You don't need it, you don't want it. And just like that 1 degree that we talked about earlier, it doesn't get me to my goal if I give up or I give in today.
Correct. Yep. Replace that thought and craving with something else. When it creeps up into your head, if you're like, oh man, I'm gonna go to the pantry and I'm gonna grab one of those cookies. Divert your mind to be like, no, I need to go out and do this. I'm gonna walk to the mailbox and back or something like that.
Yep.
Totally change your tune. Get yourself away from that mind of thinking. Stay away from that stuff, and just, dude, you'll feel so much better. You've done it. I've done it, and I just feel better in all aspects of my life when my body is right.
Yep. 100%. 100%. So, the verbal dialogue, it is so important. A lot of people are like, and I watched, dude, I hate social media. I really despise it.
I think a lot of people do, man.
It is a dark black hole of suction that is very easy to waste so much of your time in.
It's a joy
However,
stealer.
comparison is the thief of joy. Today I
Yeah.
saw Dave Brinker talk about something, and he was like, I'm working on changing, my habits, and I getting into a slump, and do other people have slumps and all this, and he's like, I got to talk myself out of the slump. And I'm like, yes, you actually need to talk yourself out of the slump.
Mm-hmm.
Be your own biggest motivator, your own biggest cheerleader, your own biggest,
Hype man, baby.
yes, hype man
Let's
for
go.
yourself.
Yeah.
You don't need this. You don't need that. You got
Yeah.
this. Get out of bed. Get out of
Yeah.
bed, Johnny Mack. Get out of bed. Don't hit the
Yeah.
snooze. Lift your head from the pillow. Open your eyes. Put your feet on the ground. Go drink a glass of water. You need
Mm-hmm.
this. Your family needs this. Your boys need this. Your wife needs this. Your team needs this. And inch by inch is a cinch. Mile by mile may take a while, but inch by inch is a cinch.
Yeah.
And it's time to be the warriors in our own life.
Amen, brother.
Dude, getting all fired up, and I'm sick and tired of living a life that is not truly inspired the way I want it to be.
Yes.
So it's time. It's time to take ownership.
Yes. No one will do it for you.
Yep. So has this been something that's been on your mind lately as well?
All of 2022.
Yeah.
It took me a year to get my butt in gear. And that's just the honest fact of it. It
Yeah,
is what it is. There's no excuses. I make the choices I make, and whatever I develop in my head is a reason for not doing something. Um, I'm the only one who can flush that, and the only one who can change the mindset and change what I'm doing. And that's what I'm doing. I'm taking control of my decisions and my cravings and my attitude towards things, and we're going to be a better, bigger, more powerful self this year. We're going to play bigger all year long, and I'll do it individually. We'll do it together as a team. We'll do it with our families, and nothing but success on the horizon for us.
yeah, dude, we're playing bigger in 2023.
Yes,
Playing
yes,
bigger.
we are.
We're not going to succumb to the laziness, to the slothfulness, to the excuses, the tiredness, the I don't feel like it, or I'm too busy, or I'm too anything. It's I want to play bigger, and so I am playing bigger starting
You know what I
now.
love? You know what I love about that saying more than anything is it is going to work in every one of those scenarios where you're having a verbal argument with yourself.
Mhm.
Hey, go. You're kind of tired today. You don't want to work out. No, play bigger. Go work out.
Yep.
It's going to work across the board.
Yep.
That's a tremendous goal and slogan and mantra to live by this year.
Yes. Yes. Let's go, baby. Play
Yeah.
play bigger. Soul Seekers is playing bigger this year.
Yes, we are.
Soul Seekers ain't gonna have excuses or woe is me life or attitude. It's like, no, if things don't go our way, we're gonna make things go our way.
Absolutely.
Yep. That is how I see it for 2023. And that is not how I see it. That is how it will be.
Yes.
Because we're gonna manifest this. It's not of I'll see how it goes. It's already done. I just need to walk it out.
Right.
It's this goes back to like if those of you who are religious or understand the Bible, it's like when Jesus said it is written. It is written. It's already done. Let's go get it.
Yes.
So speaking about like you wanting a wife or a spouse, your spouse is out there. It's already done. Go get it.
Go get it.
That promotion at in your job is already there. Go get it.
Yeah. What do you want?
Yes, that home ownership, that business, that sponsorship, that whatever, it's already there. Go get it.
Yes.
And don't rest on the laurels of yesterday because that only got you to where you are, but it's not going to get you to where you're going.
Amen.
Yep. Dude, you feel motivated after talking
I'm
like
all
this?
jacked up now, dude.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm about to, when we hang up here and we end this podcast, I'm going to go work out right now. I did not.
Yeah.
I did not. I'm going to tell you right now, this is full disclosure, everybody. My goal was to wake up at 5 o'clock this morning and to get my workout in before the day started. And I did not achieve that goal. And you want to know why? Because I wanted to sleep more than I wanted to start my day
Mm.
off right. I did not sleep well last night. I laid in bed and tossed and turned, and 5 o'clock came. I even woke up 5 minutes before my 5 o'clock alarm clock,
Didn't answer the call.
and I didn't answer. And I let myself down. And I will say this, I think a lot of this also lends to the fact that I knew I had a little free time today, so I could squeeze it in
Sure.
later. But I don't have that free time tomorrow.
Right.
And Saturday morning sleep-ins are great, but what's even better than Saturday morning sleep-ins? Getting all your things knocked out on your checklist before your kids are awake, and that way you can be
Yes.
present in the moment with them because all these things
Yes.
are intertwined.
Yes, they are.
Yep. Yep. So that's how I'm viewing things. And so for those of you who listen to this podcast, my call to action for you is what are your goals for this year? What are your goals for 2023?
Send them to us.
Send them to us.
Shoot us a DM. We'll reshare it. Tell us what your goals are.
Yeah, and shout out to Dane. Dane came to our community event in the state of Washington and got a chance to meet him and his father. Awesome people. He reached out and said, "Hey, would you mind taking a look at my off-season hunting planning guide to see what else I need to do?" And so I actually have his 2023 list right here in front of me regarding exercise and food and scouting and all this stuff. And shout out to you, Dane. Way to have foresight. Dane is also, I believe, a senior in high school. So,
Oh, cool.
it's cool to see that next generation not falling behind and getting stuck in front of a screen. So, yeah, guys, if you want to talk goals, if you want to grow, we're here. One of my goals that I did not share on this episode was to make 2023. Actually, if you heard the intro of the last podcast episode with Grant Gardner, I talk about wanting to build community with all of you, all the listeners.
Yes, connect
all
more
the
with
followers.
followers.
I want to connect with all of you. Let's connect. I got vulnerable. I shared goals. Will did as well. Let's hear from all of you. Send us the email at soulseekersnation@gmail.com, or you can go to the contact us page at soulseekersnation.com, or shoot us a DM in social media, and love to drive these conversations. So,
Yes.
Will, anything else you want to add?
No, just everybody write your goals down, see them, believe them, achieve them. Let's get after it. 2023, Soul Seekers Nation is one. Send us all of your goals, and let us give you words of affirmation and encouragement, and to the top, play bigger.
That's right, to the top. And the reason why when we went through this rebranding and we called it Soul Seekers Nation is we're all a part of the nation. We're all a part
Yes.
of seeking after stuff that sets our souls on fire and setting
Yes.
other souls on fire. And it is our job to be the spark that will set the world on fire, whether it's for how to be a better father, a better hunter, a better businessman, a better individual, like whatever it is, like inspired people inspire people. And it's time to talk ourselves into and motivate ourselves into action so that we can be motivated, and motivated people inspire other people. And then the circle just goes round and round, and the fire never dies. So
Heck yeah.
Iron Will, you're a savage, you're a warrior. Honored to have you on this podcast. Everybody,
Love you, brother.
Yeah, I love you too. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. If you want to know more about our goals and what we did to set them and go about that, let's create the dialogue. Hop on the Facebook group, Soul Seekers Nation Facebook group, and we can rock and roll with that. The link to that is in the show notes, so don't be afraid to go click on that. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of 2023 and beyond. God bless you. Freedom on. And as always, stay soulful. If you enjoyed today's podcast and want to support the show, you can always like, share, subscribe, and leave a rating, as it helps us share our mission of mentorship is conservation. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of Soul Seekers Nation as we transform lives through primal adventure. If you want to get more connected with the podcast, check out the Soul Seekers Nation Facebook group, as I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. So stay tuned and stay soulful.